So let's go on. The first point is that Gnostics believe in the deity of Christ. Again, we look for tradition to prove, to explain why the Quran attacks Christianity, but at the same time it says the apostles were truthful, the Injil is truthful, those people have, when they go the false path, blah, blah, blah. The text is Teachings of Silvanus. I quote from that. For the tree of life is Christ, he is wisdom. For he is wisdom, he is also the word. He is the life, the power, and the door. He is the light, the angel, and the good shepherd. Entrust yourself to this one who became all for your sake. Knock on yourself as upon a door, and walk upon yourself as on a straight road. For if you walk on the road, it's impossible for you to go astray. And if you knock with this one wisdom, you knock on hidden treasure. So, Christ is everything. We walk the path of Christ. We follow Christ. Those stuff were believed by the Gnostics. But let's see the Apocrypha of John. So, one day, John, the brother of James, these are the sons of Zebedee, was going up to the temple. A Pharisee by the name of Arimaneus came up to him and challenged him, asking, "Where is the teacher you used to follow?" John replied, "He has gone back to the place from which he came." The Pharisee said, "That Nazarene misled you, told you lies, closed your hearts, and turned you away from your ancestral traditions." When I heard these things, I, John, turned away from the temple and went off to a deserted mountainous place. I was very unhappy, saying to myself, "How was the Savior designated? Why did his Father send him into the world? Who is his Father? What kind of realm will we go to?" Yeah, like it's not clear enough who is the Father, who is God. You see, Gnostics, they believe in the deity. So a Muslim friend may say, "Oh, it's the same as the Christians." No, they are not. Look at them. Who is his Father? Who is God? Oh, like the Old Testament was not clear enough, and the New Testament, like it was not clear enough. But let's continue. For although he told us this realm is modeled on the imperishable realm, he didn't teach us about the latter. Now, supposedly, the Gnostic Jesus didn't even explain of the things of the unseen, heaven and hell stuff and angels. No, he said nothing about those stuff. All of a sudden, while I was contemplating these things, behold, the heavens opened and the whole of creation shone with a light from above, and the world quaked. I was afraid, yet behold, and watch, a little child appeared before me in the light. I continued looking at him as he became an old man, and then he changed again, becoming like a young man. I didn't understand what I was seeing, but the one likeness had several forms in the light, and these likenesses appeared each through the other, and the vision had 3 forms. So, you see a trinity, 3 forms. You see reincarnation, the young child becomes an old man, and then again, because he talks about cycles. The Messiah in Gnosticism is like an eon, which means like the end of the era. He comes to, he's God, he comes down, but he's created. And so he said to me, "John, why doubt? Why be afraid? Don't you know this image? Be not afraid. And look at that. I am with you. Always. I am the Father, the Mother, the Son. I am the incorruptible purity." Notice the Trinity, the Father, the Mother, and the Son. Reincarnation. We don't know who the Father is. What though? Oh my God. But did you see that? Did you see the Trinity described in the Quran? The only Trinity described in the Quran. And that was quite, actually, those kind of heresy were actually quite popular in the Arabia. So tell me, wouldn't the Lord send someone to lead people straight path? So does this explain how the Quran can say the Injil and the apostles and every one of them, they say the truth? But those guys that say the Father, the Mother, and the Son, no, these guys are false. But it's not that simple. It's never that simple, to reconcile the two texts. That would be very cool, but now you see, it's easy to be confused. I think this is the same as official Christianity. But even before the Council of Nicaea, again, before the councils, they believed, the Christians, that those people were, big, heretics, the biggest heretics. Now, remember, there's even a passage, to prove you in the Quran saying, describing us people of the book, the Sabaeans, another group of heretics, probably related to the Elkasites, by the way. No, now, I mean, when the Quran says, people of the book, it doesn't automatically say official religions that we have today. When you read the Quran today, do not think like that. Think, the Arabia of the 600s and people claiming they're people of the book, of the Old Testament. People claiming that one God. But now it's the important part. If you still think that, the Gnostic notions, teachings have nothing to do with the Quran, let me go to a text called the Second Treatise of the Great Seth. The Second Treatise of the Great Seth. Quote, "And the plan which they devised about me to release their error and their senselessness, I did not succumb to them as they had planned." It's Jesus talking. "But I was not afflicted at all. Those who were there punished me. And I did not die in reality, but in appearance, lest I be put to shame by them, because these are my kinsfolk. I removed the shame from me, and I did not become faint-hearted in the face of what happened to me at their hands. I was about to succumb to fear, and I suffer according to their sight and thought, in order that they may never find any word to speak about them. For my death, which they think happened to them in their error and blindness, since they nailed their man unto their death." So it appeared to them that they crucified Jesus, and that happened so they can kill themselves. So, yeah. What's the doctrine here? It's kind of, well, I gave to them the delusion so they can be destroyed. Now, if the Quran says, well, I do have a great problem with that. I have a great problem with that because, the Quran attacks, some people that say that Ezra is the son of God, Christ is the son of God. They do it in the way that the people of the ancient times, the pagans, do it. Those people of the book of the Quran contain also the Sabaeans, Elkasites, like heretical groups. Those people that the Quran attacks believe in a trinity, having, the Father, the Mother, and the Son. But at the same time, the only place of agreement is the fake resurrection, the fake, let's say the fake death, and whatever is after that. Supposedly, Jesus Christ went to the Father, he was translated, came down and gave orders. And he gave truthful orders according to the Quran, because the Quran says, the first generation of the apostles, the first 12, they're all truthful. And Islam even draws, with the last day and the Dajjal, and as I proved, kind of Enoch and the two witnesses, the spiritual guy coming down with Elijah. So they draw from those 12 apostles. And it actually states in the Quran many times that the first 12 apostles, they are truthful. And the Injil, and the Lord knew what the official Injil is. Allah knows what the official Injil is. It was compiled, in a canon at the time of the Quran. Still the Lord chooses to reveal to Muhammad. Yes, that Injil, follow it. It's truthful. But those guys, but we do have a great problem here. Now, why was Jesus allowed to say that he was resurrected? Or why it was allowed if he would go down? And the Lord beforehand knew that what he would say would be corrupted and the people, would believe in a crucifixion. Why was that allowed? Even to the first truthful apostles. They say the truth. It's in the Quran. They say the truth. No one of them lies. And according to the Gnostics here, it says, according to their side, blah, 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 for my death, which they think happened to them in their error and blindness, since they nailed their man unto the death. Symbolically, it means that those people were allowed to believe that, so they can be destroyed. But we read the prophecies earlier that the Jews already have been punished, the law already failed, it was time for salvation to them, it was time for the Messiah, the salvation actually of the whole world, I proved you. So how can this be? Is the Messiah a failure? Is the Messiah a failure? And do those polytheists have, are they right about what they say? Is the Gnostic Jesus in agreement with Allah? And it's really, really strange. We have more to say about that, but I'm out of time.